Hey guys, it's Toniko Pantoja, and today I'd like to talk about luck. I've been in this industry for over 10 years now. I've seen it dip and rise multiple times within the span of time. It's hard to gauge what the future of the animation industry here in LA is. But to think that one's success is only about how hard you work or based on meritocracy is someone who lives in a bubble. No skilled, hard-working artist wants to hear this, but luck matters a lot. So how would I describe luck, or what counts as luck? The way I would describe luck is being at the right time at the right place, and that in return gives you a window of time for that opportunity. During the pandemic, the animation industry thrived. There were a lot of productions, a lot of things were being greenlit, and a lot of opportunities came for people who wanted to break into animation. Now it's the complete opposite. And of course, these are things that are usually out of your control. This could be the state of the industry, studio decisions that affect the livelihood of artists and animators, the times and trends here and there. There are people who got opportunities because they went to a school that had a program where studios would visit the school and recruit students. There could be cases where it's all about knowing the right people at the right community that allows for opportunities. I would say be careful of people who say they worked super hard or hustled to get to where they're at. Specifically talking about quote-unquote successful in the industry. And I think in most cases, this is true. However, they could have been in a circumstance where things worked in their favor. This could be during at a time when the industry was booming and there were more venues for animation related opportunities, or they just knew people. Some people were privileged and had it easier, having access to certain resources or not being affected by circumstances outside of the medium. Whereas there are others who had more obstacles to come through. Now, I know a lot of people would scoff at me saying that, hey, it's all about skill, it's all about the work that you produce, and that part is true. But I would also argue, look at the industry now, and look at how many hardworking artists there are who are super skilled, super talented, who have the merit to do good work, have been out of a job for almost over a year. So when I hear other animators talk about how much work they put in to get into where they're at, and they kind of compare themselves to other artists who they feel are slacking or can't get a job, it just comes off as ignorant. So look, there are many artists in the animation industry right now that don't have a job, a full-time job. And these are all hardworking, highly skilled artists who may all have varying levels of how much they hustled or how hard they work to get to where they're at. But the state of the industry right now is so freaking weird that there's a huge pool of these people that don't have work. But that's not to say there are no jobs in the animation industry here in Los Angeles. There are people, not only do they have jobs, but they have multiple jobs, doing freelance left and right while having a full-time job on top. It's because these people have connections from past experiences and they have an established network. In most cases, you have to reach out to people to get work, or sometimes someone that you've worked with recommends you for a project, and that's how you can get an opportunity. To be truthful to you guys, there was a time where I didn't update my portfolio for many years, but that's also because every time I wrapped on a project, I was recommended to another project, or I would be placed into a new production without having to show my portfolio to prove that I was capable of it. And a part of that is because I had connections and I had a network from previous experiences. So in that regard, I had a bit of luck, and I will acknowledge that. But have I also had some bad luck? Absolutely. And as we've established, bad luck and luck, these are all factors that are out of your control. So for me, for example, I've been in multiple canceled projects that I've been involved with, and these were feature films that had a lot of potential, but because of studio interference or some other reason, those projects would get shelved. There were times where I had these really cool, amazing opportunities that would be a boost in my career, but I couldn't take it because they found out that I had a visa that they weren't willing to work with. Like when I was working on Blue Eye Samurai, for example, I thought it was going to be niche and kind of fade into obscurity. I'm glad I was wrong, by the way. It became an Emmy Award winning show that won multiple awards. A lot of people were talking about it. I joined the show because I was already internal with Netflix and I had friends that recommended me. With Invincible, I had a friend that became a director on that show and he asked me if I wanted to become a part of that production. Despite my skill level, being established in the community definitely helped my chances. These were projects that have people that I've worked with in the past or that are friends of mine who would actually recommend me to be a part of the production that they were in. You can call it nepotism, but if you think about it, that's how many industries work. It's about knowing the right people or being in the right community. And if you already have a working relationship with someone in the past and they want to bring you in, the expectations are already set. Now, going back to the topic of canceled projects or projects that failed, there are a lot of highly skilled and hardworking artists that have been in similar situations. And I do believe that their careers would have been different if these projects that they worked on kicked off. I think I'm running out of advice to give to people trying to break into the animation industry, or just general animation advice I could give, because the more I venture into this industry and this medium, the less I know. And I find myself repeating the same piece of advice over and over again with just different wording. Advice is hard to give because I do not want to come off as ignorant, but the way I would approach this is that it's me giving advice to myself and what I would do. The first one I'd recommend is to build up your luck factor. So I'm going to talk about things that are realistic and that a lot of people can do. So things like networking, building connections, taking initiative to be part of communities or community events. And of course, these are skills of their own. A lot of the opportunities I got were because of people that I've worked with in the past recommended me for future roles, or people that I met at an event or at certain communities wanted to collaborate with me or work with me. Call it knowing the right people. Call it nepotism. This is an industry that depends on the relationships with other artists and creators. So some people build connections through going to school, and school is expensive. So I would recommend, if you wanted to go to an educational space with a lot of students and teachers, I would say look at online workshops or local workshops. And it's something that's very common here in LA. A lot of people go to workshop style schools instead of whole degrees. And here in LA, a lot of those workshop classes are held by teachers that are currently working in the industry. And that could be a way for you to make that connection with the teachers and your classmates who may be your future coworkers. Look into online communities like Discord servers, and I think a lot of people get their anime work through Discord servers as well. I would also encourage you to just keep building your skills and your voice. Skills are like draftsmanship, or how you execute certain things, or how you utilize a technique or methodology. The way I would talk about voice is like themes you want to explore, subject matter that you want to talk about. Like when you see people's personal art, you kind of get a sense that there's a sort of theme or a sort of vibe that they're going for, and it's prevalent in a lot of their art. So besides skill, also explore your voice. Explore subject matter that feel genuine to you. Explore themes, ideas, and motifs that reflect you as a person. When your skills and voice become unique and strong, there will be higher chances of people knowing who you are, you being unique, and them reaching out to you. I do think that still working on your own voice and your own skills are good habits that continue over time and is still very valuable. I personally don't think that I would have gotten work in my earlier days just with my story portfolio alone. I got it through my own student films, I got it through my own personal work. So if you're off making personal work, I recommend you to think about characters and story, putting them in scenarios, making little comics or narrative pieces. And if you're an animator, make animation tests regarding your characters or your stories, make a short film, maybe storyboard it, make an animatic of it, edit it, put it to music, put it to sound. It shows the type of stuff that you're into. And I think that's just as valuable as skill. So I would be careful listening to people who say they got to where they're at because they worked super hard and did more than what was expected of them. First of all, I think it's kind of weird to measure what is considered hard work, because to some people, a lot of the definition of what hard work is different. Maybe the person talking about how much they hustled or how hard they worked it to get the opportunity that they wanted, maybe it was a good time for the industry. Maybe things were looking good or the landscape was different. Some people may have had circumstances that gave them way more obstacles, whether the artist is disabled or they're foreigners trying to secure a visa. And for people who went through the visa process of trying to secure that shit, it's super restricting. Or other people with rough luck. There was a time I had to talk about how much I was struggling or how much work I put into something, but then I was told I wasn't doing it right, I wasn't doing enough, or that people would tell me if they were me, they would have done it completely differently. Now, the point I'm trying to make is that I'm not here to say hard work is useless, and I'm not a fan of people who use their bad luck to generalize their failings in the industry, because I personally also think that it's not a good look. Some people may have been privileged or had good luck. Some people, not so much. Some people will work hard to get what they want. Some people will work hard and not get what they want. Life isn't fair. But can it build great productive habits and open new doors? Absolutely. And even when I had friends that brought me onto the same production as they were in, it's not just because I was friends with them. They know my work history. They know that I can turn in work in time, and they know I can put in the work. They also saw me appropriate for the type of show that they were in. Now, going back to the conversation of hard work or working hard or whatever that is, if you feel like you working hard or hustling gives you a sense of purpose, I'm in full support of that. I'm kind of like that too, and I'm always doing something on the side outside of my full-time job because I feel like there's a part of that that is kind of self-fulfilling. As Jorge Gutierrez once said on his Twitter, hard work can increase your luck factor. Not only does it make you stand out and that people will reach out to you for certain opportunities, but it also builds like productive habits for yourself. And that's the thing, you should just do stuff for yourself. And that type of stuff can transcend into other parts in your life. So whether you're given good luck or you have to deal with hard work, it's about how you decide to utilize that. Anyways, that's all. Bye.
Interested in learning hand-drawn animation or learning how to finish an animated shot from beginning to end? Have a look at the store where you'll find the complete Introduction to 2D Animation video course, tutorials, and other resources. Learn classical animation approaches, drawing, lectures, techniques, and other process videos. Visit the store through the link in the description below.